Alright guys, today we're going to show you how to install a Flow Design side splitter kit on the new ZR Corolla. Some of the tools that you're going to need to do this job are a texter or pencil, a pick tool or two, a 10mm socket and a ratchet spanner. Believe me, the ratchet spanners are going to make your life a lot easier because this is a little bit of a fiddly install. A 4mm Allen key, a drill, and a 7 to 8mm drill bit, and obviously all the supplied parts. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do is remove the factory mud flaps, front and rear. To do this, take your 10mm ratchet spanner or your 10mm socket and undo the bolts. And 3 on the rear. I take that back, 2 on the rear. Okay. Next thing you want to do is get the car in the air. In fact, doing this before taking off the mud flaps probably gives you slightly better access. Next up, we're going to attach the first bolt, which is utilizing one of the factory ones that we took out from the mud flap. It's going to go through the end hole here and into the factory hole. Then, if you have some spare jacks lying around, ideally, or a friend, you're going to put them underneath there to hold the side skirt in place so you can mark out all of the remaining holes for pre-drilling. Next, we're going to take the texter, holding the side skirt flush to the body of the car. Again, having a friend helps. You're going to mark all of the hole locations so that you can pre-drill them. There's a little cutout here, and there's another one down the far end that should align with the imprinted triangle that indicates where your jacking point is. Make sure that these are in the correct spot before you go marking and drilling these holes. Next up, we're going to remove the bolt that we put in to hold the skirt in place. Again, 10mm ratchet spanner. Next up, you can grab either your pick tool or a flat screwdriver if you prefer, and you're going to wedge out all of these black clips that run underneath the side skirt. That's going to allow you to open this flap up and be able to fasten the nut and bolt combination to the splitter. Also, I'll mention, there are 2 different types of clips under here. You have the shallow ones like this that are small, they sit in the deeper portions, and then you've got these ones here that are a lot longer than those ones. These are easier to get out if you take your screwdriver, pry it in from behind the skirt and wedge against the metal of the chassis rail, like so. Now that we've removed the clips underneath the side skirt and opened up the flaps underneath, we can reattach the side splitter using the first factory bolt, and then we can go along and insert the nut and bolt combos. Starting with the second bolt on the end here, it's easiest to access if you go through the guard liner, this is possibly the most difficult part of the install. If you have baby fingers, you're at an advantage. Once you've tightened up all the nuts and bolts, you can push those panels on the underside back up into the side skirt there. Replace these clips. And finally, you can put in the bolts that you took out to remove the mud flaps back in their respective holes to keep the guard liner in place.
Is there funny you can say? Oh, yeah.
Back in their respective holes to keep the guard liner in place.
Is there funny you can say? Oh, yeah.
Alrighty guys, now onto the rear of the car. We're going to start installing the rear spats on this Corolla. The things you're going to need to install the rear spats are your 10mm ratchet spanner or a 10mm socket, texter or pencil, 4mm Allen key, a clip removal tool, or some flat screwdrivers. This makes things a lot easier. Oh, and your drill with a 7 or 8 mil drill bit. Alrighty guys, now onto the rear of the car. We're going to start installing the rear spats on this Corolla. First thing you're going to need to do is take your 10 mil ratchet spanner and remove the factory mud guards. You've got 3 10 mil bolts, 2 on the side and 1 underneath the rear of the car. Next thing we're going to do is take a flat screwdriver and we're going to pry out these 2 clips right here, and this one as well. So that's 4 clips underneath in total. That's going to allow us to dislodge this piece of trim and get in behind the rear bumper. Do take note, these clips are often very caked up with dirt and that sort of thing, so it might take a little bit of wiggling to jimmy them out. Next up, we're going to take the rear spat, put it up in place, and you're going to notice that this edge here follows the red edge of the bumper there. So there's no reason for you to misalign it. Also, this hole here lines up with the factory hole from one of the clips that you've removed. We're going to put the spat in place, take your texta or pencil and mark those holes, the 2 remaining holes that you need to drill. Remove it and we can drill them out. Don't forget your washer on the inside as well. We can put the spat in place. Once you've got your nut and bolts tightened up, you can replace the black plastic trim clips that you removed earlier, taking note that you'll only have room to put 2 in. There was 2 here, one of them was removed to be replaced with a bolt and nut combo, and the other one gets covered up by the splitter, or by the spat rather, so you can't put that one back in either. And finally, you can replace the nuts that you removed to take the rear mud flaps off. 2 go in the side, 1 goes underneath, entirely up to you if you want to put those in there. We're going to stick them back in to make sure that mudguard stays where it is. Alright guys, next up we're going to install the Flowlock rear diffuser. First thing you're going to want to do is take all the fins that come with it. Make sure you pay attention to the lettering that's on the inside here. It shows you the location of each fin so you don't get them in the wrong spot. Put them into place. That's going to allow us to know how far back the diffuser sits. Make sure we get it in the right spot. Alrighty guys, so you'll notice on this particular Flowlock diffuser, the fins are designed to hook over this section of the rear bumper. So this is why we need to put them on before we go and start drilling holes. So now that we've got it test fitted, and if you look underneath, you can also see that there are cutouts in the diffuser to allow for these clip positions here. So you know you're in the right spot. Once you get this lined up, grab your texta, which my handy cameraman's about to pass me. Thank you, sir. Take your texta, mark out your holes. Alternatively, you can just drill straight in if you like. However, I prefer to remove it just for simplicity's sake. Now that our holes are pre-drilled, we can clip the diffuser back on, or hook it on rather, lining up those holes underneath. And on to the last part guys, now we're going to install the front splitter onto the ZR Corolla. First step, take your 10 mil socket and attach it to a drill, or you can use your socket wrench, or if you're really unfortunate, you can use your ratchet spanner and start undoing all the bolts that hold the diffuser and these little side diffuser panels in place. You'll also need to remove a few push clips using your screwdriver.
Yeah, that's fucking cramping. Damn, that does show you using it.